Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, kings and queens of the land. Good evening to the royals. Good evening to the liberated zones in Africa, to Burkina Faso. Good evening to President Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso, liberated zone under the French colony. Good evening to Mali. President Assimi Goita in Mali. Good evening to Niger President Abdurrahman Tian. Good evening. Good evening to the liberated zone in South Africa, the KZN, under the leadership of President Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Zuma. Good evening to the MK Party, liberated zone under the British Empire, under the leadership, under the British colonies. South Africa not yet fully liberated, still under the colonial rule of the Queen, the British Queen. My name is Mngunu Mkhonto, and this is the Royal Opinion. Today we're talking about two issues actually today, because it's a Sunday. Basically, the issue of Donald Trump. I did not want to spend much time talking about Donald Trump today because I want to talk something different. Today, I actually wanted to talk something different, but I thought maybe it's important that I a little bit talk about what Donald Trump is doing in America and look at the reasons why Donald Trump is doing what he's doing. Click the like button and subscribe if you are coming here for the first time. Uh, Share the content with other people. Let everybody knows that we are live at the moment. So Donald Trump has uh, deported, as is promised in his campaign, that is going to deport all the aliens from America, and America will be a very clean country. No illegal uh, people in America. That's what he calls them, aliens. That's what he calls people who are illegal in America. But he's not only deporting people who are illegal in America, he's also deporting other people. Um, Even those who have papers, those who are legal in America, some of them are getting deported. He's actually changed their rules because he said the law, like the home affairs laws in their country, says any person who is born in America is an American. But Donald Trump refused that, says it's an abuse of that legislation because that was meant for the children of the slaves. So Donald Trump has deported many people from America. Now, when we look at social media, we see. I was actually checking another video where they were talking about how farmers are actually suffering because the people who are supposed to be removed, the people who are said to be illegal aliens, or the people who are said to be illegal in America, are the ones who are working all these other petty jobs that Americans don't really need. Good evening, Cynthia, Queen Cynthia Malope. Thank you very much for joining. Very long time. Very long time. We've not seen you for a little while now. Thank you very much for coming back. Much appreciated. Today we're talking about. Uh, I'll actually introduce what I'm talking about at a later stage. But now I'm still talking about Donald Trump Donald Trump, who has deported people in America. And he has previously said that the illegal people or illegal aliens in America are the ones who are taking the jobs from black people in America. He's mentioned that thing, and he said the laws that said people who were born in America was actually meant for the slaves. So what Donald Trump has done now is removed all the people who are illegal, the people who are picking food from the farms, the people who are working in the restaurants, the people who are working in the cleaning in the hotels, all the people who are doing all these petty jobs, the foreigners, in South Africa, the foreigners doing all these other petty jobs that South African does not want to do. That is similar situation in America. The Americans does not want to do all of those petty jobs. So the foreigners were the ones who are doing that. So now they say there's a shortage of food because there will be a shortage of food because farmers are supposed to be harvesting at the moment and there are no people to help them harvest. It's basically a crisis. There's a lot of uh, gap that those people have left when they leave, when they get deported. This is history repeating itself. It's not a new narrative. When the slaves, when they wanted to end slavery, when the slave masters realized that their children were becoming dumb and dull, and they wanted to motivate their children to go and work with the slaves, they came up with the concept that the slaves came to take your jobs, saying the jobs of the white children. The slaves have come to take your jobs. So it is the same concept. Even today, they are saying the foreigners have come to take your jobs, meaning the American slaves, the ones who are original slaves in America, the ones who were working the sugarcane industry in America, who were working the fields, the grapes, whatever they are working there in their fields, uh, those slaves, the original slaves, those are the ones that will be remaining in America, and they must take up the jobs that are left by the foreigners. Donald Trump have allowed companies to discriminate against black people if they don't want to employ them. He's removed uh, all the government administration. He's actually said anyone who works in government, if they volunteer, they can retire at any given time. He actually forced people to take early retirement. Cynthia Malupi says, the system is busy enslaving me. I don't have much time to relax, but yeah, we need to liberate ourselves from the system. Thank you very much. It's okay. Uh, so Donald Trump is reverting back to the years in which America was thriving because of slavery. Uh, they want black people and poor Americans, the white people, black and white people or poor Americans. The education in America has now been privatized, and this is for getting back to the issue where white people have an advantage because they have the money to pay for their children for the expensive private education, and poor black people don't have money to go to school. So all of these black people will be forced to go back to take their slaves jobs. There are many black people are getting fired from their jobs in America, and they will later on, a year later, many people will not be able to tolerate the hunger, and they will be forced to take those slave jobs, the jobs which were done by the foreigners, the slaughterhouse houses, the picking of fruits in the farms. All of those things are going to be done by Americans, black Africans, who are the original slaves of America. So Donald Trump wants to restore that those glory times, the times in which America was, white people were thriving because they had slaves. So he wants that that time to actually come back. Is actually reverting back to that. All his legislations are reverting back to that. If we want to understand this approach in governance, I think is almost. I agree actually with his approach. The approach he is taking in governance. Donald Trump is taking a different approach in governance. He's making government a business. He's running a government like a business. He's removing anything which is inefficient, which does not help America to make profit. He's removing even employees of government who are redundant or who are deemed not to play so much bigger role in the whole thing. So his approach is that one of a business person. I agree with that kind of approach. So the only problem with his approach is approaching it as a private business, but it's supposed to be a public business. So the difference between President Zuma and Donald Trump is President Zuma's approach is he wants to approach government as a public business. Donald Trump approached government as a private business. And the reason he does that is because government, in the first place, was started by the criminals, the mafias, who wanted to collect from good people who are innocent. They wanted to create a platform where they can take people's money, taxes, and where they can have legal access to resources, where they can have access to resources without having to create wars or having to fight first. That is the reason of creation of governments. So government is the business of the mafia. So when Donald Trump take the approach to run government in a way that it would be efficient, he's actually doing what the mafia had in his mind when he started the when he started government. So Donald Trump's approach to governance is the original way or the original approach in governance is the business of the mafia. And the reason this Donald Trump decided to actually go that approach is because the dollar is collapsing. America is collapsing. America will not be able to assist other countries, will not be able to buy condoms for South Africans and other African countries, Mozambique and any other African countries. They don't afford anymore to buy condoms for us, because they don't have money anymore. So the best approach is Donald Trump is looking for places where he can save, but because he's a man who is leading a bigger country and uh, with bigger egos to he's not gonna be public about it. That the reason he's actually taking the approach that privatizing education, privatizing healthcare, privatizing everything. It's because America does not have money anymore. America does not afford to run those services anymore. So that is why he's basically taking that approach. America is in the blink of collapse. Donald Trump is trying to manage that collapse so that it happens in a respectful way, in a way that America will still be spared. So that's why he's removing, is preparing government to be efficient in that way. That was, I think, that is my remark. That is what I wanted to remark about Donald Trump's approach to government. He's approaching it like a business person, in which uh, all government should be approaching it exactly in the similar way. The only difference is it should be approached as a public business, not as a private business. Government should be able to make profit. Government should not only collect from citizens. In actual fact, government should not collect from citizens. Government should be run by efficient people who can help it to make profit, like a company, and take care of its people. Those who are running government should help government to make profits out of the resources of the country and take those profits to take care of the citizens of that particular country in which the business is happening. So basically, that is the approach that every government, I advocate for every government to take. Today, let me talk about, because it's a Sunday, I want to talk about how to manufacture reality. This is a special. Thank you very much, Cynthia Malopi, for joining. This is for people like you. This is a special for people who have been part of the channel. Yeah, this is just a gift for those who are part of the royal opinion. This is I would say it's a special kind of um, teachings that I'm bringing. I want to talk about the difference between, should I say, the difference between, let me say, the difference between perception, fact, truth, reality, and ultimate reality. If you listen carefully, you will be able to understand exactly why is important for us to actually discuss this topic. Let me first define the words perception in a simpler terms, in a simpler way. When we talk about perception, we talk about seeing what you are seeing. Perception is what you are seeing through your eyes. Fact is processing of what you are perceiving, processing, giving an interpretation of what you are basically perceiving. That's what we call as a fact. When you see something, when you are looking at something, then the software inside is running to verify that as a fact, that it's true, that you are actually seeing that. So perception is seeing. Fact is processing of the perception as truth, that you actually saw that thing. So basically, fact, it's a change, it's a changing of perceived to a fact now, to be something that is processed as something that has happened. After something is processed as fact, then the same thing is now registered as the truth in the mind, in your mind. The same thing is registered as the truth. And after it has been processed as the truth, then it becomes your reality. I'm actually talking about how to manufacture your own reality. Now, perception comes from seeing. Seeing is a software, meaning seeing can be amended, seeing can be deleted, seeing can be changed. So seeing, it's basically a software, meaning perception is a software. Does actually what you see, is it reality, or let me say, why is it important to talk about perception? Because it's actually the start of the manifestation process. When you see something, you process it as a fact. After processing it as a fact, you take it as a reality, as the truth. And whatever you take as the truth is basically your reality. Whatever you say is the truth is your reality. I don't know if I'm actually making sense. Uh, or I'm actually breaking it down in a way that somebody can actually understand. So I said perception can can be amended. You can change what you are seeing, because what you are seeing determines what you are going to be, or what you are going to, at the end, decisions that you are going to make out of the things that you have seen and out of the things that you've interpreted as the truth and the facts. Out of those things, you make decisions, and the decisions become your reality. So the process of manufacturing reality is through perception, converting facts into truth, converting the same truth. When you say something is true about you, then it means it's your reality. That's what it means. The reality that we end up having, it's not necessarily the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality or the ultimate truth. Okay, let me try and maybe break it down in a different manner. The truth that you know as the truth, it's actually based on time and space. What do I mean when I say it's based on time and space? It's actually based on the facts that you are located in a particular area. Time and space. You are actually you are actually a South African. Maybe we can say you are actually a South African because you have a South African ID. But is it the truth that you are actually a South African? Is it reality that you are actually a South African? It is a fact that the sun comes from the east to the west every 24 hours. Other areas where if you can move to, you will find that the sun delays does not come in the same time as it is coming in your area, or the sun is only available for 4 hours, or in other areas there's no. It may be true that where you come from the sun is available 24 hours, so you know that as the truth, but it's not the ultimate reality that the sun comes if you are in a different time and a different space. If you go to a different space in a different time. So, what we take as our reality, it's not of, it is determined by time and space. Nkosana Fulani says, last student in the class, better late than never. Thank you very much. Better late than never, yes. Said universe. An ancient vision, the African people united for the new world. It was 25 years.